Continue, Jake. The tribe has spoken.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Aw, fuck you too, sweetie.
I'm JJ, one of the original Tribe of Nerds members. You can catch me on Marvel, Pokemon, and other gaming podcasts.
What up? It's Josh, resident superhero nerd, but I also dabble in the occasional super villain as well.
Some may know me as the Chaos Gremlin, but really I'm just Joe King.
Pikachu, use Volt Tackle! Good job, Pikachu!
On the Tribe of Nerds. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Shane, Kristin, and I are here for episode 3 of Deal or No Deal Island Season 2. So we're really excited to get into it, the Dr. Will of it all, and everything that went down as we lost Rock this week. So what are your guys' thoughts on this episode?
I liked it. I like the whole concept of the show, and I think this cast is really good. Like, season 1 is obviously always, every show, season 1's experimental, and you're just getting into it. This season, I think, is really running with it, which I like. Yeah. I think they learned from season 1, both the players and production, and I'm enjoying it, and I think there's going to be so much more to see. It's a little bit of a slow start, but all 3 people that we've lost so far are characters. Like, they're all memorable in their own way.
Yeah, I agree with that. Kristin?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. This season, like Shane said, is kind of a slower start, but I feel like we're getting a little bit more of like a story base versus the first season. It was kind of just like a game show. And so I do like that a little bit more. This episode was really good because we talked on Will and the Parvati thing, which we're going to get into. We've got Rock, like Shane said, being a massive character. That man got so many insults on his way out. Like, there's just so many things happening. So, yeah, excited to get to be able to talk about it throughout the season.
Yeah, we'll get to that, the insults. I was just like, why are you being mean to this man? Like,
I mean, I laughed, but
I did too, because it was ridiculous. All right, well, I guess we kick this off by going into the Dr. Will versus Parvati of it all, and where Parvati is shocked that Dr. Will outs her as having played Survivor before, which we just mentioned it, Kristin, before we hit record, but like, it's just shocking how she's shocked that someone just outed her like that.
I'm gonna jump in here because I think this is absolutely ludicrous that she thought in any part of her brain cells that this was going to last this entire season. And to like the point, as much as I hate Will, and so I hate like actually having his back right now, he didn't technically out her to out her. He was like, well, like, Parvati, you've been on Survivor. Like, he was kind of like just trying to have a conversation.
Well, that's a way to think of it. I mean, he knew what he
the way that the edit was. Now, granted, Will's not an idiot, too. He's trying to paint a target on her back. We know that. But the way that he presented it to people is like, we came in, the edit that they showed us was very, like, right in the middle of whatever that conversation was. And the way that we saw it was, he was like, well, Parvati, you've been on Survivor. And to me, it was like there was probably something leading up to it. Like they were talking about like, Will, you played Big Brother, but how was it like to be in the Big Brother? And so I think he was probably trying to be a comparison. But as we saw in the first episode, literally every single person on this cast came up to Parvati and said, you were on Survivor, I'll keep your secret. I think there was, 2 or 3 people that did not know?
Yeah, I think it
So
was like 6 out of the out of the 12, because Parvati doesn't count. So it's like at
yeah,
least half of that.
I'm
Yeah.
just like the fact that she thought that was ever going to go anywhere makes zero sense to me. And she's supposed to be smarter than this, so I don't know why she didn't just jump on board with that. Um,
Yeah, she
especially
should
with the people that
know.
don't know her.
Yeah. Like she should know from Survivor that people talk, and if you have 6 people or more that know your secret, they're gonna talk.
Right.
I'm shocked well, who knows what happened or not. I'm shocked knowing Dixon that he didn't say something and like just out of the blue, because he can do that.
Well, he has a crush on her, and now she's his
Oh, yeah.
mom, so he probably.
Well, to be fair to him, he said had a crush.
Well, I would hope he wouldn't have a crush on his now mom.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm right there with you, Shay. I don't. People are gonna talk. People are gonna form bonds and stuff. What I am gonna bring up though is an amazing moment that I think that David is.
Yes.
She could easily, and obviously Will doesn't know who David is.
Mhm.
So that's another, like, obviously people, please climb out of the rock that you're living in and go watch Australian Survivor. I am
Yeah.
also a late bloomer. I understand. Don't be a late bloomer anymore. Come out. Let's crawl out of the rock that we're living under, because Australian Survivor is amazing.
Mhm.
But even Will doesn't know David, and I'm a little worried for David that if this ever does come out, if Parvati gets mad or something, if she feels like the heat's on her, that could really ruin his game, because literally 0 people other than Parvati know this secret.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I kudos to him for being like, I mean, there was even a moment where they're sitting there talking and they're like, who was it, Letty? She's like, Survivor. They're like the
It was
best,
Maria Grace.
or yeah, whoever it was, best game players ever. And
Yeah.
and he's like, so wait, they go out into the jungle and
Oh my God.
When he
David.
was like, "Oh, so what you're saying is if you win, you're the gold standard."
I know.
Oh my God.
I know.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Just
I loved every
knew
minute
what
of
he
it.
was saying there.
yeah. Someone explaining Survivor to the Golden God, one of the greatest players of all time, is just beyond hilarious.
Yeah. So I am worried for him on that front, that I think that Parvati, she has a lot of ammo and you can't really give that woman some ammo.
Yeah.
So I am worried for him in the forefront, but like this Will outing Parvati, I never thought I would ever defend Will. Ew. But here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, to Will, I do think it was a deliberate move. I mean, at least watching, I've actually watched Big Brother 2 and like his winning game. I mean, he literally would just go and like just plant some sort of target on somebody else to get them to go up on the block instead of him or go home. And it was just pretty masterful in that way, but also like Will is pretty obnoxious as well. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
like
to be clear, I'm not saying it wasn't deliberate.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it was
yeah.
definitely deliberate, but I think I think he was probably maybe like, I want to continue to put her in the forefront.
Mhm.
And then himself was shocked that she didn't tell anybody, like that people didn't know. So yes, I want to clarify. I'm saying it was very
Yeah.
deliberate, but I don't think it was an outing.
It
Right.
could have been more deliberate, because at least like it made sense to be like whatever they were talking about. I don't even remember, but she's like, "Oh yeah, you were on Survivor," and it kind of made sense. It wasn't like, "Oh, we're talking about how we're podcasting right now." Oh yeah, and I went to a trampoline park earlier.
Right.
Just nothing. But
Right.
this, it wasn't quite that, but like it was a little out there.
Mhm.
Yeah. I also think though that massive like silence after, like, I think Parvati, like, she got up, you could tell she was like frantic, and again I'm like, why are you frantic? A lot of people know this. I think if she would have been like, oh yeah, like who cares, like if she kind of almost would have like brushed it off a little bit, at least acknowledged it, but like walking away from it, I think, and then people are like, what is she hiding? And then people are like, oh yeah, she's one of the greatest of all. And so now these people that don't know her, instead of her addressing the issue, now they're gonna get this whole big huge like bombarding of information.
Mhm. I agree. All right, so then the next big thing, of course, we're gonna get to our challenge, and this is where they have to communicate with each other who's gonna unlock and try to run the sandcastles to get their briefcases first. So I thought this was an interesting thing to make people have to communicate and trust each other. And I love that David is just like immediately, he just like shuffles forward and just grabs the key.
Yeah. But then he didn't even come back first.
I was
He got
shocked.
the highest case. So I'm like, what are you doing? But I will say, I really like how they design the challenges in this show. Like, I just think it's so unique. And I love that, like, it's not just your challenge ability. Like,
Hmm.
they put strategic decisions in there. They
Yeah.
put a little bit of luck in there too. Especially we saw with this one, like, coming back, you kind of got to dictate the order a little bit of who you paired with, and there's luck involved with that. But then there's still a strategy because now Philip has this twist that I'm sure we'll get to in a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, when we were watching it, I was like, I don't understand. Like, what's the benefit of going first? Like, nothing was clicking in my brain of like, yes, of course, like you go out there for the case first, but like, it wasn't clicking in my head. Like, oh, you could run and see what case was happening. Like, just none of that
Yeah.
was really clicking in my head. Um, so I wish, I mean, I guess that was just on me for really not understanding because you guys were like, you're an idiot. Like, what are you doing? Um, but like also Shane brings up a point. He didn't come up with the biggest case. He didn't like search for the like he had a huge lead. Parvati and Philip are like 2 and 3, and they caught up with each other but never saw David. So it's like you had plenty of time to run past, and he
Right.
didn't. He stopped really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was shocked as well because I mean, I was shocked like Will even came in before him, and I was just like, Will's trying to throw the challenge. Like, David, how did you not get back before Will?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you see these big numbers and you assume that they're like big numbers, but they're actually not because there's even bigger numbers. Because even we saw a confessional from Dixon being like, I want to be in the middle here.
Mhm.
So I see the 900 something thousand, I'm going to take it. Well, that was actually the second lowest number out there. I
Right.
think second lowest. Yeah.
There. Yeah.
So I'm like, it's hard to really know what they have. But also speaking of Dixon, I laughed like knowing him, but also just even if you don't know him, I feel like you laugh when he goes to the sandcastle and kicks it and nothing happens. But I think those castles were hard because we saw David like drop kick it and they didn't show it, they cropped it, but he was on his back. Like he
Yeah, he
fell.
felt. Yeah, he
And
definitely.
not the big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, and you saw them all like really. It wasn't just a castle that you're knocking down. Like it was
Yeah.
like it was packed in. Like you had
Right.
to work for that case.
Hmm.
Yeah. They were very well put together sandcastles.
See, that would have led to 3 people getting almost evacuated in Survivor if they were sitting there digging through that.
Right?
But no, I mean, all in all, again, I mean, the challenge again, you like you mentioned, you come back and you can either start your own little like duo or
Mhm.
join a duo. I think that I don't know what you guys would have done, depending on who was there and things like that. You don't know what cases they have. I mean, at one point, I think it was Letty, maybe. She was like, I have the 400 million, or I have the 4 million.
Mhm.
She could have lied. Like, I would, if I was
Yeah,
trying to get somebody out, I would have been like, yeah, I have 4 million. Like, you don't know.
that's true.
So I don't know where I would have gone. I might have done my own little duo, but then if I got stuck with somebody with a lower one, then you know what I mean.
Yeah. I would like to think that if I were there, I wouldn't just grab a case immediately when I was out there. I would try to like survey and maybe not go through the whole course because I feel like you'd run out of time, but at least find you go to the first one and then go to a couple more in the same area, see what's the range of numbers, and then make a decision. Because at least you know like a relative range. So when you get back, if someone's like, oh yeah, I have 10 million and you feel like none of the numbers are close to that, you're like, okay, they're probably lying.
Right.
I
Yeah.
agree.
No, it's just there's a lot of strategy that could have been done there too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And it also could be depending on where you ran to, and if you were first, so let's say like CK came back first. So let's say she went to some castle in the middle. Since she's first, she's gonna be running past all the people that are digging. So she
Right.
can look at the flag and see what numbers they're getting, unless they switch, of course. But at least if you do that, you have somewhat of a sense of what people have. And if you're early and you know you saw someone with like a case that you think is big, it is safe to just join them.
Right.
Mhm.
Of course, who's to know that Philip can come in with his little split and ruin things.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So let's get to that split twist. So the ability to split a pair up and make their totals separate, I thought was a really interesting wrinkle. And of course, it's going to lead to Rock getting ousted in the game. So, what are your guys' thoughts on this twist?
I liked it. I think I like that they're adding these twists in there. I kind of wish that there would be like a little bit of a good and a bad with it. It feels like it's all good. Like there's no risk involved whatsoever. And
Mm,
they kind of like, for instance, last week with the thing to bring in Dr. Will, they kind of made it sound like there was risk, but the only risk is bringing in a new player, but that affects everyone. So there's no personal risk to you.
right.
So I kind of wish there was something where if you go for it, there's something bad that happens or could happen to you, and also something good that could happen, but it's not like a guaranteed good. Where now both times they're guaranteed safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so funny you brought that up because that was literally what I was going to say is that I feel like not only is he getting to split some cases up, now you and Parvati are automatically safe. Like
Right.
I feel like it should have been you can split a group up or you like you know how he's like Joe mentioned, you know that you didn't have a number in your case. Like I feel like that should have been the risk. Like, do you want to split up two or do you want to risk it for the number that's behind the split and
Yeah.
take your chances with part? You know what I mean? So I feel like
Right.
it should have been something like you're talking about, but because that's what I was initially thinking in my head was like that would have been like there should have been a number back there, like take the split or like run the risk of the number.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. The thing I really want to see, and I don't know that they're going to do this, I hope they do, but in season one, we saw personal offers come into play, and it usually happened at Temple. I would love to see it kind of like hidden immunity idols in a way where they're like hidden around. And to get it, you have to like do something mischievous or there's like some risk involved, kind of like the
Mm-hmm.
Beware idols in Survivor.
Mhm.
Because people I think would do it for a personal offer. Because if you see, $50,000 in your bank account, like that's pretty nice, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like you would take that, it would, in a way, because season one, like to take it meant you left the game. So I'd like to see somewhere you don't leave the game. You just have to do something
Right.
where if it goes wrong, like it might ruin your game a little bit, but you're still in the game. And if it goes right, you get a personal offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I don't know. I just if they're gonna make this kind of the theme of the season, this banker's bonus, I feel like hopefully maybe it's just like it's the catch, you know what I mean? Like the catch and release of it all of like, oh, we're gonna make them think that this is good every time, and then
Right.
maybe the next couple will be bad. I'm hoping that maybe that's gonna be the case, but we will see, I guess.
Yeah.
True. True. So it ends up coming down to the bottom three are Rock, Seychelle, and Lachelle. And Rock ends up going in to face the banker. Um, Unfortunately, he ends up picking bad cases and making a bad deal. So, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on this, on Rock going out here?
Yeah, well, I guess sort of on the same topic, but I feel like, and this is a general thing about the season, is we're not getting much of the strategizing time. Like me personally, that's what I love about these shows.
Yeah,
I don't care as much about the challenges. This season I do because there's some strategy involved.
right.
And even like the temple parts, like, okay, I can hit or miss with this, but
Yeah,
I wish we could see more because that's really where you get to see the character development. And
yeah,
even this time, it kind of got established really early that Rock was going in no matter what.
yeah,
Yeah.
And it seemed like he had no relationships, but also it seemed like everyone liked him. So I kind of would have liked to see that be developed a little more. Like, I feel like if everyone likes you, you probably have some relationships out there.
yeah.
And they
Aside
kind of
from
made it seem like it was ambiguous who he was going to send home if he had a choice,
right,
which,
right.
okay, the fact that they're not telling us means it's probably him. I wish they kind of got into that a little more. Because David, like, they showed confessionals where David was nervous, but Rock had never indicated anything about David. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, aside from the people calling him Simpleton and Yosemite Sam, I was like, jeez.
I'm surprised they didn't call him Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
Because he looks like him and he's wearing a tiger
Oh my
shirt.
gosh, yeah, that's oh my gosh. Now the thing for me that I with Rock is that like For the first time now, the first couple of temples, it was only the people in the bottom. But for this specific one, he was able to choose anybody he wanted. So I think that there is part of that. Unfortunately, he picked all of his family members and they all did him dirty. And then he didn't stick with his
that
gut.
he actually picked.
I know. Well, that was the thing, is like he didn't stick with his gut there, and he's like, I'm doing this for you guys. I'm doing this for you guys. I'm sorry, screw you guys. I'm here for money. I don't know what you're doing, Rock, but come on, dude. Like, listen, you're a nice guy, and obviously you were like, I'd rather you guys get some money than like $1, but like, no, to each man their own, man. I need to stay and I need some money.
Right.
Agreed.
And yeah, this too, it's so, I don't know the right word for it, but with Deal or No Deal, like you pick a case at the beginning, you're supposed to have confidence in that case.
Right.
But the way the game works is actually you usually don't want to go all the way to the end. That's so risky. So it's such a weird dichotomy and Rock kind of had the gut feeling that he picked correctly, which I guess he kind of did, and then he didn't go with his gut.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know he said on his exit interviews that like he was already seeing that there was probably like a women's alliance or something. That's what he claimed. So I don't know if he was just doomed regardless. I don't know from the edit we've been getting that is what is going on, because
But also I feel like that's a cop out too, because like let's think about this for a second, dude. Like this is not an alliance. This isn't Survivor. You're not voting people out in that aspect. And you can win let them put you in temple every night. You can beat the banker every night.
Right, true.
Like, I feel like that's a cop out. Like, there was a women's alliance. I was screwed. No, you copped out. Like you literally copped out. Was like, I'm quitting, basically.
Yeah. And if it is to be the same as season 1, where to win the game it's final 4 and then it's just all a challenge, like Rock is who you want to go with. Like, whatever your alliance is, you shouldn't be taking that to the end unless it's people you think you can beat in a challenge. Like, you should just use it for survival and then turn on it if you get a chance. But that's the thing, is like, you might have an alliance, but you're not voting every time. Your alliance might not be voting every time if they don't have the power. So you really have no idea what's going to happen.
That's why I think that's just an excuse. I think that was an excuse to be like, I didn't quit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's funny. If there was a women's alliance, they probably would have kept Sydney last week and eliminated him then. So,
and from what we're seeing, or what we saw in like the end of episode 1, where they previewed the whole season, Seychelle is not happy with it. Looked like CK at one of those temples where she's saying some stuff. So I feel like there's not a women's alliance.
No,
but
no.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. But what did we think about when Rock was doing the temple, and at first he knocks off all these big numbers and they're like, oh, I'm so mad. I'm like, why are you mad? Your odds are 75% right now. Like, in real Deal or No Deal, that's not good. In this game, like, who cares what's going in the pot? It's not your money, and it's only one briefcase at the end. So it's like, you should just be doing what you need to survive. And I don't know if production is like cueing them and telling them to like be upset about it. Like, I have no idea, because it just doesn't make sense to me that every single person, like this season and last season, is seemingly not just outright being like, this is a really good board for me, even though I knocked off all the numbers. The only person that sort of did that, but
don't do it,
was Boston Rob.
Sorry, I threw up a little bit in my mouth there.
Yeah. So like when Rock had that first deal, I think his offer was greater than 6 cases, and there were 2 cases bigger than it. So he has 75% odds. Like, logically, you take that. When he didn't take it, I'm like, this guy needs to go on Know Your Role Boulevard. If you watch wrestling, there's your Rock reference. And I was like, this is an idiot. A third in a row that's an idiot. And then, I mean, he got lucky where then his next offer again was 75% odds. I'm like, yeah, you have to take that. He just had really bad luck where he did the logical thing and it turned out it was wrong. And that's how the game has luck involved. So either way, like, he was still gonna make a bad deal, but logic says do it.
And that's what, if we're gonna go by logic here's where I'm at, is if you're logically not going to do your 75% odds here in the first round. That to me means you're going crazy and you're going to go all the way. But then very next round to be like, oh, same thing. Okay, sure, I'll take the deal now.
Yeah.
Like that, bro, what are you doing? Like, get your act together. Like, did you forget like, I don't know. I thought that was a moment of like, did you not understand how Deal or No Deal works? Are we missing it? Like, you were so adamant. And he's like, he even said, like you said, Shane, I know my case. I know it's in here. I know then why are we taking the deal? What are you doing? So, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my
The
rant
one thing I
of the
was
day.
thinking though is like, let's say he doesn't take the deal, and let's say the next case he knocks off is the 1 point whatever million. So now the offer is going down to like $200.
No, right.
Odds are going to be probably 50% at that point or 66%. Still good. Take it. At that point, though, there's a little risk because now you're still safe, but you only added $200 or whatever to the pot. So next time when someone goes into Temple and they win, maybe they take you out because they're like, if you go into Temple again, you're going to get us no money. So we want to get money. Let's take you out. But also, that's a little bit of a weird thing because it's all luck and random. So if you did bad one time doesn't mean you're going to do bad the next time.
Right.
But who knows? There's so many things to think about with this game.
There really is. There's a lot of working things. So, it does appear that possibly next week we might be getting some good juiciness, especially from our good friend Dixon. I cannot wait. I've been waiting for this moment, and I hope it is next week, but I've been waiting for this moment because when they showed this preview of him and Will doing the whole Nunya, and he's like, Nunya, that is such a Dixon. Like, I can see it happening. I've witnessed it myself. Like, just the whole Nunya. Like, I'm really excited to see what transpired. That's how it all came to be. Why Dixon and Will are the battling buddies there. Like, so I'm excited for next week.
Oh yeah, because the reason we think it's next week is we have studied the trailers. Like, we won't spoil it, but we think it's next week.
We won't spoil it. We are pretty confident.
Yeah.
But yeah, that clip was funny. And I think on Instagram, either NBC or Deal or No Deal released like a little bit of an extended version of that clip where when Will says Nunya, he's like, none your damn business because I don't trust you at all. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely know that there's something that's leading up to this, but then this is gonna be the blowout, and I do think that it's not gonna just be done there. I think this fight's gonna continue.
Yeah, but yeah, it was interesting because way back when on episode 1, when they showed the preview, like they showed Will clashing with Dixon, Will clashing with David, and Parvati, and we've kind of seen a little bit of the Parvati already,
right?
But does Will find out about the family alliance and that's why they're clashing, or is he just clashing with everyone but they just showed the family alliance? I don't know.
Listen, I would clash with this man for zero other reason other than the fact the second he walks back in when he's technically in the game and walks into where I eat my breakfast, lunch, and dinner and throws his shoes, oh, buddy, you and we would have issues just from that. Like, I don't know if you guys caught that, but that was one of my like, why are you throwing your sandy, gross shoes around where we eat? That is disgusting and disrespectful. Go drown in the ocean. I don't care. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh my God. Well, I guess Dr. Will is like your John Locke, Kristin. John Locke to Kevin.
Well, no, because John Locke is John Locke to me too, but they all run together. But no, so I don't know. I'm excited for the season. We've said this the last couple times we've done this. It seems like it's going to be a pretty decent season. It seems like each episode gets a little bit more. Yes, it has been a slow start, but we're getting a little bit each episode. So.
Yeah. And I feel like there's no way at this point to predict like who's going to go out when, other than some of the stuff we've studied, but it's about to come to an end. So then we're really going to be surprised. But I feel like with this, it's so hard to predict the winner. It's so hard to predict how people are going to do. The editing isn't as established as like Survivor, where we've gotten into their pattern of editing so we can read the edit. Here it's a little more difficult. That being said, I still have some confidence in David as a potential winner. Philip, for some reason, I think I said that just before even episode 1, just from the trailers. I'm like, there's something about Philip. And I've heard other podcasts say the same thing. I don't know. There's like something about him.
Yeah.
David though comes to mind, and like I would love Dixon, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious how it's gonna go down. I would probably say David would probably be my winner pick as well. I just think like edit wise, I think it would match up, and David's just been hilarious so far, so
Yeah. Yeah, my logic behind the David pick, because it wasn't my pick at first, even though David's my favorite survivor of all time. So I wish I picked him. But Joe has said on podcasts, so it's official, and he spoiled it, but he said whoever wins this season wins the most amount of money in reality TV history. So it's greater than like 4.5 million from Squid Games. And he said the final temple is nuts because the person keeps turning down offer after offer after offer. And to me, the only type of person that would do that is someone that already has a lot of money or someone that's won a show before.
Mhm.
Well, I guess if you're at the temple, you've already won. Like
Right.
you won the consolation prize. So like you already know you won. Okay. But that's why I think David. That's my only reason for saying David. Like I think David is crazy enough to do something like that.
Yeah, it's listen, just for my own, just I want to be like, yeah, that was my friend. He killed it. I want Dixon to win. I don't know. I think he can get very far. I've said this on the podcast before. I think he goes very far. Does he win? Hopefully, fingers crossed, but like who knows? David, because I've never seen him play. Again, guys, I understand. I was living under a rock too, but you need to get out of it. Love David, so I can't wait to see more of him. Parvati, she can go. I don't care. I've seen her enough. We're good. But also like I do feel like Letty is another good one.
Yeah.
I like Lachelle. I don't know how far she's gonna go, but I do like she seems like a very calm-esque
Yeah.
person until she gets like kind of cornered. So I'm excited to see kind of what she will do. So yeah, I mean a lot of good characters, so
Agreed. All right. Well, unless we have anything else, we can end this. So
Yeah,
we
I
was
just will say before we
yeah.
end, kind of echoing Kristen's thing on Dixon, like I'd love for him to win. I just am not seeing it yet.
Yeah.
But it's the most amazing thing to watch him on the show. I think we're gonna see more, which is great. But like just knowing him and seeing this and like that he wanted it, it's just so amazing to see.
yeah, he's wanted this forever, so it is really kind of a beautiful moment. So
Yeah. I've enjoyed him so far, so hoping for the best for him. All right. With that, we will see you all next time for more Deal or No Deal Island on the Tribe of Nerds.